Morning, book lovers. It's me, Delicia. I'm here at the Luxelibrary, and I'm so excited. You already know tonight is our very first adult-only book club, and we're also introducing an author's spot, which is basically a live reading of an author's book of our choice. All right, check this out. Today I'm here with Rich Vision and his book From Victim to Victor, and I'm so excited because he's actually here. So come through, Rich. I'm just letting you guys know if you would like to submit a book to us, we would love to review it. And if we select your book as one of our faves, we would love to feature it on here as well on Friday morning. So, welcome, Rich. How are you?
Good and yourself? Sorry, my work.
Good, 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 good. I'll make sure they see that. All right, I'm going to read a little bit from the back, and then we're going to ask you a little bit more about the book, and then we'll get into it.
Yes,
All
sure.
right. So, it's From Victim to Victor. It's Transforming Trauma into Triumph by Richard Serra. All right. This book is about amidst of the chaos in the global pandemic. Richard Serra's harrowing journey through mental turmoil gave birth to the electrifying manifesto From Victim to Victor, transforming trauma into triumph. From the brink of despair, he dives deep into the labyrinth of mental health struggles, charting a course towards resilience and self-discovery. This isn't just a book, though. It's a battle cry against tyranny of victimhood, urging us to demand the help we need the help we deserve and refuse to tolerate of mental abuse. Richard's unfiltered narrative inspires a personal revolution, prompting us to uncover our innate strength and cultivate connections rooted in empathy. Through his odyssey, he unveils the transformative power of breakdowns, illuminating the path from darkness to triumphant rebirth. From Victim to Victor isn't merely a read, it's a declaration of defiance against mental oppression and a resounding testament to the unconquerable human spirit. Okay, this is deep, deep, deep. And I could definitely say I relate, out of the pandemic and all the trauma of that. I also wrote a book. Mine was a book of affirmations, and it's great to see that you wrote a book of poems. So tell us what made you do this?
Yes, absolutely. During the pandemic, I was struggling with my mental health. It was a point in my life where I was internalizing a lot of the things that a lot of people were saying in regards to my music, and because my music is such a big part of my career and of my passion, because I internalized it so heavily, I started to self-sabotage myself. I started to neglect my self-care. I ended up really getting into a bad spiral with depression. I isolated from family, and I started to contemplate suicide during the time, and honestly almost did. And a lot of the stuff during the pandemic was a testament of my resilience, of me being able to be in spaces where I was able to have someone hold space for me when I couldn't hold space for myself, while I was facing mental abuse from a mentor of mine that I was working with on my career for 4 years. And one of the ladies helped me in the class really navigate that mental abuse, and she really helped me change the narrative for my life. So the book is in a nutshell is about like my healing from mental abuse, my healing from suicidal ideation and feeling unworthy of being here, and also being able to just alter the narrative so it empowers other people to know that they're not alone in their struggles as well, and that they can get the help that they rightfully deserve.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I must tell you, this is very relatable. I feel like everybody had their personal journey of like, self-discovery and, either mental breakdown or mental growth. So this is so timely because as we come out of the pandemic, I still feel like we're coming out of it. We're really facing the aftermath. So this is totally necessary and you're not alone.
So thank you.
So I had my bookmark in a page, gaslighting, because I feel like that's a word that, really came out of the pandemic, just the
Yes.
fact that people were starting to kind of wake up to the fact that, mental abuse and mental wellness is a thing. And we kind of need to shed a little bit more light on it. We need to be more aware. And this word gaslighting came up so many times, whether it was politics or personally. I think I'm still using it today. So tell us a little bit about this poem before I read it.
Yes, this poem's about a mentor that I was working with on my music career. So basically what happened was there was instances where then the day that I confided in her to hold space for me, it was about like 3 o'clock in the morning. I had messaged her about not feeling depressed, and she decided to call me, and she gave me a very aggressive approach to my me reaching out. She was basically saying I should have just sent an email rather than to have text her so early in the morning. And that was a part of gaslighting too, which I never knew until I spoke about it with my friend, that it was pretty much saying like my feelings are invalid.
Mm-hmm.
And she would basically, say that things about not only me, but people that were in the same class as she was facilitating about and lowering people's self-esteem. And she did that with me plenty of times. Not only with the email, she also mentioned things about, um, you know, she kind of she kind of felt like an example would be like I was paying for a producer to work with one of her producers that she was had on her team, and it seemed like she was more worried about how much money I was paying for the program itself, because I did it for 4 years straight, and thinking that I couldn't afford to work with a producer for a 10 song album, versus what I was coming at her with, which was the baggage,
Mm-hmm.
mental health baggage. And she kind of like really kind of like just deflated my ego, or not ego, but deflated my mental health in that regard, because it seemed like she was prioritizing money over my mental health,
Mm-hmm.
which I
Well,
believe so.
we can definitely relate. And tell us, what do you think gaslighting is? I think you kind of said that it's
Yeah.
basically undermining your feelings or your state of being, right?
Yes, and one thing she did say was like, "Oh, I'm not your mother. I'm not your God. I'm not your savior." And that really, hurt me, because I
Yeah,
just consider her as a mentor, and it really hurt for her to say things like that.
yeah.
But I was
I
able
mean,
to,
I
yeah,
really hope that you are, healed or going through that healing, because I feel like during the pandemic, we all went through something very similar, whether side either way, we're on either
yeah,
side of that gaslighting. I felt like, just because not only are we going through our personal struggle at that time, other people are too. So they're also finding themselves and rediscovering themselves. And, you know, I just hope that forgiveness is a part of this healing process, because, I hope that we don't live in these painful places, because, I've been through mine, and it's really the growth is really the most important thing.
absolutely.
All right. So I'm going to read. You ready?
Yes.
Gaslighting 101. I'm really sorry that you feel that way. I'm really sorry that you feel that way. I presumed you were going to change and not watch me crawl out of this mental cage. Oh, it was 3 in the morning. It wasn't business hours. I'm sorry for not reaching you at business hours. My mental health was hanging by a thread. I guess business hours didn't mean a thing if I dropped dead. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean? You're a narcissist attempting to control me and micromanage my email, and you're telling me that I'm senile, or you're just in denial? For telling me I expected you to be God or perfect, I admit I had expectations for others, especially those who are mentors, who are here to uplift and not degrade others. Like you did to me when you said you weren't my mother. Felt slighted from the lies you covered, up like makeup when I saw through your whole makeup. In your presence, I was given the task to relearn breathing. Anxiety is kicking in because I don't want to leave your class. How could I tell you off and still sit inside your class without looking like the only A, aspired to leave on good terms? Disheartened by the shattered pieces that couldn't be repaired, disheartened that you were doing this to others without a single care. For the same person, for the same person people looked up to for inspiration, belittling students because you were an expert at two faces. I was the
Mm,
student being fed all those lies. Without a puff of weed, CC, my former mentor, was on a natural high. To murder the spirit that God placed in my eyes, you can't ever undermine the purpose God placed inside my eyes.
mm,
Wow.
mm.
Wow, so this poem is as deep as you described it,
Yeah.
as
Thank you.
specific and as as live as you described it. Wow. So how do you feel now that you're hearing this poem, speaking about this that happened, a few years ago? How are you feeling about this right now?
I feel I'm in a better space now that I'm able to detach from what happened to me a year or so ago because I told myself like I didn't want to live with the resentment. I didn't want to live with bitterness. I'm not that type of person. I'm a naturally positive person, and that's what I exude through my music and through my book and through everything else that I'm doing. And that's not something that I really wanted to stand for. I didn't want to stand for, in a sense, being this, angry person, vengeful, when I knew that this instance was made to mold me into a better, stronger, healed human being. Because now I'm able to relate to so many people. Like I'm even wearing the hat, stop mental abuse, as a testament of like what I stand for and what I'm cultivating within the mental health community as someone who is a man of color who's ending the stigma, of mental abuse one song at a time, one poem at a time, and I'm also um normalizing mental health issues and saying that, you know, I'm able to go through something and we all go through situations. However, with the mindset of everything is not impossible. Everything is you're capable of more than you know. And I want my message to always empower people that they're not alone, but they're also like there's also help out there. And resources, which is the reason why I put the resources in the back of the book too, um, as well.
Absolutely. So I must say, so you talked about, victimhood and, someone gaslighting you and making you feel less than, or even, kind of messing with your mind. How do you feel that you accomplished the victor part of this title? What makes you a conqueror of that place, that phase, that abuse?
Yeah, thank you. Great question. I've been doing a lot of inner work since then. I've been in therapy. I ended up I do a lot of I do meditation now. I do a lot of grounding to really, clear my mind of the things that I went through before. I do a lot of self-reflections. Journaling a lot has been helpful. Writing about it in music has been really helpful and cathartic for
Absolutely.
me.
Music and
And
writing,
I've
you must
been,
say. So
yes,
put that in
saved,
the
yeah, it
box,
saved my
feeling
life.
box.
Yeah, it saved my life really because I was able to really freestyle a lot of my emotions when I was going through it, and really have an outlet to express how I felt versus just like acting out on rage, which I wanted to plenty times over because I felt like my feelings were validated. However, I was able to actually um I even did the thing with the affirmations. I would write affirmations to myself, and I was taught to do there's a thing called reaffirming affirmations, which one of my mentors, life coaches, taught me. Um, so that also helped also make me feel like, oh, I am enough. No, you are enough. Like just that whole change of like reaffirming what I am and what I'm not, has been really helpful for my psyche and really, especially because during the time I was sabotaging and now I was able to flip my mind into a more positive space because I didn't do nothing but motivation. Like everything around me was motivation, down to the music I was listening to, down to the my space, even my space, I
Hmm.
changed it because it's like I'm in the same room. However, I was able to put posters up with affirmations. I was able to um watch motivational videos, glean information, take notes, and I honestly invested a lot in books, self-care books,
Absolutely.
on self-care books, and all of that combined helped me to grow and not harbor that resentment. Allowed me to just be free
Hmm.
of that anger and allowed it to be to express myself in a way that is more productive rather than destructive.
Right,
Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you so much. And just so you know, Elite Marching Band said, congrats, keep
yeah,
up the
thank
great work.
you.
All right. So I'm going to close out with one more poem called I Said No. I see that this is more of the victorious side of the book. So I'm going to close out with that. And and then just kind of let everybody know, tonight is the adult only book club that the Lux Library is hosting online and via Zoom. So we're very excited to, premiere that for the first time ever on a Friday at 7 p.m. And we just hope that everybody joins the club. It's only $5, and we welcome especially authors to join because you guys have voting power and nominating power to put your book in the hat so this can become a topic of the conversation in one of the clubs. All right. I said no. I said no to mental abuse. I said no to confiding in a noose. I said no to outsourcing my power. I said no to inner demons getting louder. I said no to suicide, to stand in the gap for my brothers. I said no to some people who smother me with lies God never planted in my eyes. I said no to people who taught me to compromise. I said no when you discredited my dreams. I said no to people who said I wasn't meant to heal humanity. I said no, rejection had me by the collar. I said no to chasing those empty dollars. I said no when you wanted me to sulk in my depression. I said no to confiding in Smith and Wesson. I said no because there's power in my no. People pleaser never casted for that role. I said no because I don't deserve being mishandled. I said no to being canceled. I said no to feeding myself cold lies. I said no to pushing my ambitions to the side. I said no to self-harm. I said no to resentment because I confided in songs. I said no to the ones I never belonged. I said no to dying with my songs.
Mm,
I said no to blades. I said no to people who think depression is just a phase. I said no to claiming loser. I said no to say yes to my future.
mm,
No. That was excellent. I love a
thank
good rhyme.
you.
And you're
Thank
also
you
an
so much.
artist. Yes, you mentioned that. I just want to shout you out, fellow artist here.
Oh,
So
so what are you, a singer?
um,
Or
I,
anything?
I do it all, but mostly I'm like spoken word. I don't want to call myself a rapper, but yeah.
Oh, that's so
My artist
awesome.
name is Adele Diva, so you guys a whole nother page I'll tag you from. um, but yes, an artist altogether. What's your music name?
Rich Vision, so it's RichVysion on
Okay,
all
yeah. So
platforms. I have a new single out called Save Me.
okay. All right. So we'll be checking you out. We hope to see you here in person someday,
Yes,
maybe a
absolutely.
performance. We have our author spot and our author spotlight, which is an in-person experience. But we're soon going to be doing an artist spot and an artist spotlight. So we welcome you here at the Lux Library again and again. And I thank you guys for joining the live. We will have this on the page. So we'll replay it as many times as we can for those who are out there watching and listening. And I thank you, Richard, for sending us your book. We
So
enjoyed
thank
it.
you.
And we always, promote the power of mental growth and mental awareness, especially through the power of literacy and art. So thanks again. And
Thank you so much
we'll
for the
see you
opportunity.
soon.
Take care.
Hope to see y'all tonight at the Adult Only Book Club. We turning up. You don't even know, but you about to find out.